I'm sure you've been asked this question many, many times, but it is a difficult question. Who is the best player you have played with or against in your career?
Sans hésitation, Ronaldo.
Without hesitation, Ronaldo.
Did you hear this? That was the legend Zinedine Zidane sharing his opinion. Let's hear someone else, shall we?
Trip here this evening.
International that Benzema's.
What about this fellow here?
Do you think a prime Nesta would be able to handle Erling Haaland now?
I can play, yeah, because I played against Ronaldo, the Brazilian. Haaland is very good, but the other one was something different. I played against Messi, against Cristiano, but the Brazilian, Ronaldo, for me was different.
We know that injuries are the bane of every football player. Throughout the history of the game, we've witnessed harrowing moments that compelled spectators to avert their gaze, sharing in the pain experienced by the player on the field. Furthermore, there is no shortage of exceptional players whose careers have been prematurely halted due to unfortunate injury-related issues. This abrupt conclusion to their football trajectories leaves fans pondering the heights these players could have reached had they not encountered such problematic events. Let's remember some memorable examples. Who could ever forget the brilliance of Marco van Basten, the Swan of Utrecht, a player endowed with extraordinary technique and ability? He stands as the author of one of the most iconic goals in the history of the game. Undoubtedly, he was one of the finest players of his era. Having scored an impressive 300 goals in a high-profile career, Van Basten played his last match in 1993 at the age of 28. Unfortunately, an ankle injury compelled him to announce his retirement too early. Despite the premature end to his playing days, he later transitioned to coaching, taking on roles as the head coach of Ajax and the Netherlands national team. Michael Owen, the former English striker, encountered numerous injuries that left a profound impact on both his playing time and overall performance. Notable among these were knee injuries, hamstring issues, groin problems, and various other setbacks. In a revealing interview, Owen expressed the frustration of transitioning from the pinnacle of winning the Ballon d'Or to finding himself on the bench at Stoke City. This stark contrast highlights the challenging journey he faced due to the persistent and diverse nature of his injuries, ultimately shaping the latter part of his football career. How about Ricardo Kaká, the Brazilian midfielder renowned for his lightning-fast pace and a potent, accurate shot? Fans will never forget his tremendous sprints that posed a nightmare for defenders. Following a brilliant stint at AC Milan, Kaká embarked on a new chapter with Real Madrid in 2009 as part of a significant team reconstruction. However, his time at Madrid was overshadowed by a series of injuries, rendering him unavailable for extended periods. Upon recovery, he faced the challenge of competing for a spot in the first team, with Mesut Ozil often preferred over him. Despite his efforts, he struggled to recapture his prime form. The Brazilian midfielder ultimately concluded his career with Orlando City in the US, unable to replicate the stellar performances that characterized his peak days at AC Milan. Certain injuries leave us perpetually contemplating the untapped potential of players. However, if there's one player who truly prompts this question, it's undoubtedly Ronaldo Nazario, the phenomenon. Ronaldo Nazario burst onto the scene playing for Cruzeiro, where he maintained an impressive average of 0.93 goals per game. His journey continued with PSV Eindhoven, where he continued to deliver stellar performances, achieving an average of 0.94 goals per game. Upon joining FC Barcelona, Ronaldo once again showcased his prowess, boasting an average of 0.95 goals per game. These are some insane numbers that we need to recap here, and remember, Ronaldo was only 20 years old when he played for Barcelona. For comparison purposes, Erling Haaland, who was 23 years old, and who is widely regarded as one of the best strikers nowadays, has an average of 0.91 goals per game. So even if we focus solely on goal-scoring prowess, Ronaldo proves to be superior, not to mention other factors such as speed, ability, and technique that further solidify his legendary status. What else have people said about Ronaldo? Let's ask Clarence Seedorf, who is the best player he's played with.
I've answered that question without hesitation during my whole career. For me, Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo, has been from a different species. Yeah. And that's because I've played against him when he was 18 in Holland, in Spain when we were 20, 21. And I played with him. And that's where you see the real stuff in training. Matches, yes, but when somebody can repeat the same thing whenever he wants, then it's not luck, for sure. But I think that nobody has been able to unite speed, strength, vision of the game, execution, and be concrete. All those elements together. I've seen players that can do dribbles like nobody, they can score maybe like nobody. But the intelligence, the full package was, incredible.
What if we ask Mourinho, the special one?
With this boy, that is the best football player I have ever seen on a pitch. I think injuries killed a career that could be even more incredible, but the talent this guy had with 19 years old here, Ronaldo, Nazario, something incredible. So this is the final against Paris Saint-Germain. Rotterdam, 1-0, 1997, Ronaldo goal, 1-0.
Best player you've ever seen?
Yeah.
That good?
That good.
Wow.
That good. Not with a career like Cristiano, Messi, 15 years at the top every day. But the natural talent, incredible.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Ronaldo is held in a very high regard by some of the greatest players to ever play the game. His explosiveness and famous stepovers were a nightmare for any defender. Look at the French team during the training talks, debating the best way to stop him.
Le passement de Ronaldo de jambes, il est que d'un côté, c'est-à-dire il fait ça et il entraîne toujours du droit, jamais de l'autre côté. C'est-à-dire qu'il fait son passement du gauche.
J'aime pas ça. De toute façon, à Milan, il l'a fait. La balle, tu la vois plus. Donc, qu'il part à droite ou à gauche, la balle, tu la vois plus. Je te jure, il fait fou. La balle, elle est où? C'est un magicien.
Comme ça, il reste comme ça. Tu regardes, plus de ballon. Le ballon, il est de côté.
C'est même monsieur, comment t'as fait, monsieur? Tu veux me la refaire? Et il en fait une. T'es comme ça tout le match. Non, t'es comme ça tout le match.
Non, regarde, premier truc, franchement, s'il est comme ça, tu le fais pas
faut pas te coller. Hein.
Non, ouais, parce que lui, tu sais ce qu'il fait?
Il se sert de toi.
Il attend, et puis comme il est comme costaud, il se retourne. Ce que tu fais, tu l'empêches de se retourner. Parce que quand il est retourné, c'est là qu'il est dangereux.
Ouais, c'est ça. Ou tu fais ton intervention en sachant que t'as quelqu'un derrière, ou si j'ai personne, tu sais, t'es prêt à accélérer dans le sens contraire.
Mais attends, mais normalement, quand il sort de Marseille, il faut que toi, t'aies le ballon.
Okay, this is all fine and dandy, and things are going great for Ronaldo. He has been shocking the world with his performances. However, destiny had other plans in store. At the dawn of the new millennium, Ronaldo faced a series of setbacks with consecutive injuries that sidelined him from the pitch for 2 years. It all began when Ronaldo suffered a tendon rupture in his right knee during a league match against Lecce on November 21st of 1999. It took Ronaldo 5 long months to finally be fit again and start playing. He indicated that he would be physically able to play around 15 to 20 minutes during a clash with Lazio on April 12th of 2000. There was a great deal of anticipation as Ronaldo prepared to make his return to the game following a grueling injury. The moment of truth came, and Ronaldo was ready for his return. However, in a moment that still makes for heartbreaking viewing after 21 years, Ronaldo suffered one of the most horrific knee injuries ever seen after attempting one of his trademark stepovers. Lazio immediately kicked the ball out of play, and the distress amongst the players on both sides told you everything you need to know. In a podcast 2 years ago, Ronaldo mentioned how a doctor in the US told him his career was over, and in terms of physical activities, the best he could hope for was to be able to do a light jog. Running those sprints during a football match was out of the question. He also recounted facing enduring, excruciatingly painful treatment in France, aiming to increase his knee mobility. He described the daily struggle, saying, "Every day I fought as hard as I could, pushing through the pain with the hope that my knee would gain just one more degree of range of motion." Ronaldo emphasised how physical therapy helped him during that time. He said, "The science said it was unlikely, and the doctors had doubts. I had a unique experience, and I thank God for having the opportunity to overcome that with him. And that helped me a lot professionally." The goal for Ronaldo was to be ready for the 2002 FIFA World Cup. Could Ronaldo recover his physical form for the tournament? Or would he still be the same player people were used to seeing? When the Brazilian roster for the 2002 FIFA World Cup was announced, a first-of-its-kind event in the long history of the tournament held in Asia, Ronaldo's selection was never in question. The Brazilian team needed everything at their disposal to erase the hurts from 4 years earlier, when a 3-0 loss to France had left the four-time world champions red-faced in front of the world. Revenge against Les Bleus was on the agenda, but more importantly, the restoration of their lost pride came before anything else. Ronaldo had a tremendous World Cup, being the top scorer with 8 goals. Past issues were forgotten as he returned to his best form miraculously after years of troubles. It was as if the last 4 injury-ridden years had been a fever dream, and he was merely continuing in the same form that first took him to the Football World Summit. 2002 was a fantastic year for Ronaldo. In addition, he also signed for Real Madrid in that year and won the 2002-2003 La Liga title. Now, his stint at Real Madrid could hardly be considered a flop. He won La Liga 2 times and was the top scorer once during the 2003-2004 season. His goals per game, however, took a hit, totaling only 0.58, which was much lower than those of his previous clubs. This cannot really be considered a flop. As mentioned, he was the top scorer in La Liga in the 02-03 and 06-07 seasons. He was also the top scorer of the 03-04 La Liga season. He won the UEFA Super Cup on 01-02, the Spanish Super Cup in 02-03, and the Intercontinental Cup in 2002. However, it became evident that Ronaldo was no longer the player he once was. The electrifying runs with unmatched acceleration and the extraordinary physical prowess that defined his game during the Barcelona and Inter Milan days were no longer present. He shifted his focus toward positioning and precision striking, adopting the style of a traditional number 9 whose primary role is to find the back of the net. Don't get me wrong, he still had moments where he could execute remarkable sprints or showcase his famous stepovers, but it was undeniable that the vitality and physical attributes that had been his hallmark had noticeably diminished. It appeared that the severity of his injuries had taken its toll, leading Ronaldo to struggle to maintain the same level of performances that had defined him. Additionally, weight problems began to emerge as a contributing factor, which Ronaldo attributed to a hypothyroidism issue. If we examine his list of injuries, it might not seem extensive, but the ones he experienced were absolutely devastating, particularly the ruptures of his patella tendon. The list of injuries forced him to stay away from the pitch for 1,324 days, or 3.6 years. Messi, for instance, has a far more extensive list, but the total number of days he was unavailable amounts to 746. Conversely, Cristiano Ronaldo had a longer list of injuries, but he only missed 429 days in total. Ronaldo would still go on and play for AC Milan in Italy. But just when one would think his bad luck with injuries was behind him, he suffered another serious injury which left him off the pitch for 262 days. Although, it needs to be said that he had fairly decent numbers during his stint at AC Milan. But let's hear what Nistelrooy has to say about Ronaldo.
One of the people that I spoke just before this, he said, "What's the best player you played with?"
And it's Ronaldo from Brazil, Brazilian Ronaldo. He's the best player I've played with. Because for him, the goal I scored against Fulham was for me an exceptional goal. For him, it was more of his standard, you know. Yeah, that's crazy. His natural ability was far beyond anything I've played.
Ronaldo's final club stint was with Corinthians in Brazil. A visibly overweight Ronaldo took to the field for his last matches with the Sao Paulo-based club. At 32 years old and weighing approximately 100 kilos, Ronaldo embarked on his ultimate football venture. While his statistics were respectable, they fell short of the breathtaking moments he had delivered earlier in his career. We will forever wonder the heights this player could have reached and the accomplishments he could have attained if not for the debilitating injuries he endured at such a young age in his career. Those were the years where he would have been in his prime physical condition, a crucial aspect of his game that had always been one of his greatest strengths. Admittedly, when asked how far he believes he could have gone had he not encountered such severe injuries, Ronaldo responded, "People often speculate that without these challenges, I could have had a far more illustrious career. But what they fail to grasp is how mentally resilient I became in overcoming these obstacles. It forced me to grow and evolve, not just physically, but also in refining my game on the field." Now, we hand it over to you, football fans. What could Ronaldo have done had he not faced those physical problems? Could he have reached the same level and consistency of the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi? Where should he be ranked when considering the best players in history? Please, tell us what you think in the comment section below. And until our next video, exploring the beautiful game.